Imagine a machine so dangerous, so powerful, that one single false alert could trigger the end of the world. A doomsday device, not from a spy movie, but from the very real, very tense era of the Cold War. This isn't science fiction. This is the story of the Soviet Union's most terrifying secret, a system known as perimeter, or as it's more chillingly called in the West, the dead hand. Picture this. It's the height of the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in a terrifying standoff, each with thousands of nuclear warheads pointed at the other. The guiding principle is mutually assured destruction, or MAD. The idea is simple. If you launch your nukes at us, we'll launch ours at you, and nobody wins. Everyone dies. This grim logic kept a fragile peace for decades. But the Soviets had a deep-seated fear, a paranoia that haunted their military strategy. What if the Americans launched a surprise decapitation strike? A lightning-fast, first strike attack designed to wipe out the entire Soviet leadership in Moscow before they could even realize what was happening. If the General Secretary, the Minister of Defense, and the top military commanders were all gone in a flash, who would be left to give the order to retaliate? The Soviet nuclear arsenal, their ultimate deterrent, would be useless, sitting silently in their silos while the country was annihilated. This fear was the seed from which the dead hand grew. Soviet engineers and military strategists were tasked with an unprecedented challenge: create a system that could guarantee a retaliatory strike, even if there was no one left alive to give the command. They needed a foolproof, automated system to launch their missiles. A dead man's switch on a national, and indeed, global scale. So, in the mid-1970s, work began in absolute secrecy on Systema Perimeter. Its design was both ingenious and bone-chilling. The system was designed to lie dormant, constantly monitoring a complex network of sensors. These weren't just simple seismic sensors looking for explosions. They were listening for a symphony of Armageddon. The system monitored radiation levels, air pressure, seismic activity, and, crucially, communications on military radio frequencies. Here's how it was supposed to work. In a time of extreme crisis, the top leadership could activate the perimeter system. It would then enter a standby mode if, after activation, the system detected the telltale signs of nuclear detonations on Soviet soil: a sudden spike in radiation, seismic shocks consistent with nuclear blasts, and at the same time, it lost contact with the military's general staff. It would assume the worst. It would assume the leadership was dead. The decapitation strike had happened. And that's when the truly terrifying part would begin. Once triggered, the dead hand wouldn't immediately launch the entire Soviet arsenal. That would still be too risky. What if the sensors were wrong? Instead, it would initiate the final failsafe. The system would launch a single, special command rocket. This rocket wouldn't carry a warhead. Instead, it would carry a powerful radio transmitter. As this command rocket soared high over the Soviet Union, it would broadcast a coded launch signal directly to every nuclear missile silo, every strategic bomber, and every submarine in the Soviet fleet. Upon receiving this signal, the automated systems within those silos and submarines would take over. Bypassing any human chain of command, bypassing any need for a launch code from a living person, they would unleash thousands of nuclear missiles. A full-scale, unstoppable, retaliatory strike would rain down on the United States and its allies. The dead hand would have done its job. It would have ensured that even in death, the Soviet Union would drag its enemy down with it. The sheer audacity of this concept is mind-boggling. It meant placing the fate of the entire planet in the hands of a computer algorithm and a network of sensors. Think about the potential for error: a massive earthquake, a series of unfortunate sensor malfunctions, a communications blackout caused by a solar flare. Any of these could potentially trick the system. The engineers, of course, built in as many safeguards as they could. For instance, the system was allegedly designed to check for a combination of these signals, not just one. It also supposedly needed to confirm that there was no stand-down order being broadcast. indicating that the leadership was, in fact, still alive. But the risk was always there. The most famous near-miss of the Cold War happened in 1983, when a Soviet satellite warning system falsely reported the launch of 5 American missiles. It was only the cool head and skepticism of one man, Stanislav Petrov, who correctly identified it as a system malfunction and refused to pass the alert up the chain of command, that prevented a potential nuclear exchange. Now imagine if a system like the Dead Hand had been fully autonomous in that moment. Petrov's human intuition wouldn't have been there to stop it. For decades, the existence of Perimeter was one of the Kremlin's most closely guarded secrets. Western intelligence had inklings of it, whispers and rumors of a doomsday machine, but no concrete proof. It wasn't until after the fall of the Soviet Union in the 1990s that former high-ranking Soviet officials began to speak openly about it. Men like Colonel Valery Yarnich, one of the system's designers, came forward and confirmed its existence, its purpose, and its terrifying capabilities. The revelation sent shockwaves through the international community. It was a stark reminder of just how close the world had come to annihilation, and the extreme lengths to which both superpowers were willing to go. The Dead Hand was the ultimate expression of Cold War paranoia, a technological monster born from fear. So this brings us to the big, unsettling question. The Soviet Union is gone, the Cold War is over, so the Dead Hand was dismantled, right? Well, that's the twist. It may still be active. While the original purpose was tied to the US-Soviet conflict, the logic of a guaranteed retaliatory strike is still strategically valuable to Russia today. In 2011, the commander of the Russian Strategic Missile Forces stated that the Perimeter system not only exists, but is on combat duty. In 2018, former Russian military officials confirmed that the system had been modernized and was still fully functional. The official Russian military doctrine even includes a launch-on warning posture, which is entirely consistent with how a system like Perimeter would operate. Why would they keep it? The logic, from their perspective, hasn't changed. The fear of a decapitation strike, perhaps now from a combination of hypersonic missiles and advanced stealth technology, is still a major concern for military planners in Moscow. A modernized Dead Hand, now likely integrated with advanced satellite and early warning radar systems, serves as the ultimate insurance policy. It sends a clear message: don't even think about a surprise first strike, because even if you succeed, you will not survive the consequences. It's a chilling thought. A relic of the Cold War, a doomsday machine built on fear and paranoia may still be humming away, silently waiting in the background of our modern world. It's a testament to how technology, once created, can take on a life of its own, and how the fears of one era can cast a long, dark shadow over the future. The Dead Hand is a stark reminder that the nuclear threat didn't simply vanish with the fall of the Berlin Wall. The secrets that governments hide can often be more terrifying than we can imagine. Thanks so much for watching. If you were fascinated by this dive into Cold War secrets, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're always uncovering more declassified stories and hidden technologies that have shaped our world. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Dead Hand. Is it a necessary evil or a disaster waiting to happen? We'll see you in the next video.